There's not even a slot here to do that. Darn it. Well, I have something cool to share this week. I recently met a retired local guitar builder. He's kind of an older version of me. He makes unique guitars, also believes you can get a lot out of a cheap one. I dig that. That's what my whole channel is based on. A good setup goes a long way. And this one here is due for a sweet setup. So this here is the BannisterCaster. Luthier dude made it years and years ago from old Stair Bannisters. And it's one of 3, I'm told. First impressions are, this thing looks badass. It wants to play. It's saying, plug me into a loud amp like right now. But it hasn't been played in years and years. And just like an old car, you just can't go right into these things. You got to ease into it, you know. Anyway, my friend Amazing Jay acquired this one recently. And he wants to work it. And I'm here for that. So let me show you around here. It's your standard Strat shape. Trim. Black pickguard. Maple neck, fat ass headstock. So I guess that's all you need to know. So let's get into it. All right, a couple things I noticed looking over it real quick. One, the saddles are bottomed out, so it's really uncomfortable to palm there. And 2, the neck has some underbow. So with the old strings on it, I want to check that truss rod, possibly way too tight. We'll see how that feels if it wants to settle out. Might have to do some massaging. That may allow me to raise the saddles a little bit, but I do get the feeling that the cure to the saddle height is possibly a shim under the neck. But we'll see what the truss rod adjustment does for us. Right, I think I'm going to have to take off the pick guard to get to that truss rod. I had a couple commenters say that, you know, I must be a Vice Grip Garage fan because, yeah, I use a lot of Derrickisms. And I'm trying to come up with my own, but sometimes they just come out. Watching Vice Grip Garage, it's probably the one YouTuber that I'll watch episodes over and over again. So it's kind of like, you know, when you quote movies or TV shows with your friend group, you know. Like my friend group was always kind of Monty Python quotes and Spinal Tap quotes, you know. So when I quote something and it's Vice Grip Garage, then it's coming from somewhere. There's not even a slot here to do that. Darn it. Alright, I think in the interest of things, I'm going to take the neck off and chisel out a spot here for truss rod adjustment, because there's no other way to do that. So, take the strings off and go from there. Alright, there we go. Signed it. Bannister. So with about a full turn, I'm able to bring it back flat. I think I'm going to leave it there. I'll leave it there and see how that works. You know, I just need a little bit out of this to get that truss rod in there, so I don't have to keep taking the neck off. So, yeah, slight little mod here. Get out the good chisels for this one. Nice. Alright, neck's back on. I now have the ability to adjust the truss rod without taking the neck off. So I like that. I am going to try to get these strings back on. And we'll see how that goes. I'm wondering if I should also put, you know, a spot on that pick guard or just leave it. Well, in there, little buddy. Yeah, so immediately that brought my my action up here a little bit. Able to get a little higher. But my goal right now is to get it tuned up, and then I can have a look at that neck and see what tension looks like when it's on it. So I was able to take about half the height out of these posts to start with here. Alright, with the truss rod adjusted, I was able to bring the saddles up about 1 millimeter. I still want them a little bit higher for adjustability's sake, and these screws are still rather aggressive. So we're going to install a shim, and we'll see how that helps. Also on the truss rod adjustment, that went very well. You got about 3/4 of a turn one way or the other, and that either underbows it or overbows it. So I have it set now with the perfect amount of relief with the tension on the strings. It's not perfectly flat, just a little bit of give, so that should go a long way with playability. While I have the strings off to put that shim in, I think I'm going to try to change out the nut too. This one looks like it's a little bit wider, and it looks like it's cut for a 12 string. And I have this one's plastic Strat nut. That's you know, worst case scenario. But I do have a black tusk nut for a Strat. So after the string, we'll take that off and change that out. That should help a little bit too on the edges. It is really close to the edge, and it's going to want to slip off on you when you're playing. And it is already maxed out on this side with the neck going that way, so I don't want to mess with that. So I think a nut that is cut a little bit closer in will be a big help. So let's do that. Alright, so round 2 with the shim and the new nut. I was able to bring these saddles up to a really good height, and you're not going to be hitting your palm on those screws any longer, so it should be way more comfy. It's a good thing that this nut worked out so well, because the old one broke. Plus, it brought the string over from this edge and from this edge. They were awful close, so that's a keeper. And that's a black tusk. Perfect. So I'm going to take these strings off of it. I'm going to clean up the whole thing, the body, the neck. I have to resolder my ground here. I lost that. And then I can button that back up. And then we're going to do something fun up on the headstock. So stick around. So you may have noticed that there's no decal or signature on this one. Amazing Jay would like to have the builder's name on there. He didn't get around to signing this one. Not that he doesn't want credit, but Jay says dude doesn't want to mess up a headstock if he messes up his signature. But I mean, the guitar speaks for itself anyway. But I've been given permission to decal it up, so I have a couple options here. The first one I came up with is, when I think of the fat headstock, I think of that Stratocaster, big and curved there. But I just wasn't liking the way that that was laying out. So my second option was more traditional, straight on. And yeah, I mean, it's okay. I didn't like the way that kind of filled the space. I can't get it as low as a real Fender logo would be because of the bottom of the J and the bottom of the G. So my third option, my third design here, I got his name a little bigger, BannisterCaster a little bit bigger. And yeah, I like the way that that fills the space, better than the other two. So that's the one we're going to go with. So based on that design, I made my own water slide decal. You can do these right at home on your home printer. If you have inkjet or laserjet, just get the corresponding paper. After you print it up, you want to clear it with just a little quick spritz of some rattle can clear coat will do it. And then cut them out. You're going to drop them in some water and wait about 30 seconds. They'll start activating and you can slide it on to where you want it. And once it's in place where you want it, you kind of dab it with a little bit of paper towel to get all the air bubbles out. We'll let it sit for a couple hours and then just give it a really quick light clear coat to seal it on there. I don't know if I'm liking that one. Take them off before they get too embedded. Try it again. So I always print up, if I'm doing these, I do about 8 or 10 of them just to make sure that I'm getting it right where I want it. Alright, I won't bore you with this, but I'll get it. So heck yeah, that looks awesome. I'll let that dry off for a little bit, and I'll tape up around the headstock and just give it a real quick just to seal that in. I can start putting this thing back together. Nice. Well, there you go. That's all set. Came out pretty decent. Oiled up, installed the tuners, installed that tusk nut. So I'm all set with this thing. I can move on to the body. I think I want to beef up this ground a little bit. Make it just a little longer so it's easier to work on to flip it out. Alright, where am I on this thing? I got the neck done. I got the body cleaned up. I got a new ground installed. That's a little bit longer, so if you have to work on it in the future, you have some slack for the pick guard, and that's secure. So I think I'm ready to start putting it back together. I have some real shims on order, and I'll probably put one in the next string change, but we'll see how this goes for now, because I'm sure it'll be back, because he's going to want to play this like crazy, and it's going to probably get pretty filthy and grunged up. Alright, this is how I learned how to set up a Fender bridge. You hear a lot of people say that maybe they don't like these type of bridges when you use the trem because they go out of tune. Then it might not be set up right. It's all about balance. You really have to have a balance on here from the springs to the strings. So how do we achieve that balance? So the first thing I'm going to do is tune it up. I'm pretty sure that the screws on the claw are really tight, holding those springs in. Another thing to consider is how many springs. You know, if you do all 5, it's going to be nice and tight for you. It's probably always going to come back. But if you use lighter gauge strings, then you probably don't need that many. If you use 9s, then you can probably get away with 3. If you use 10s, 4. If I do 11s, I'll put 5 on them. But that all depends on the player. And, you know, some want less, some want more. It's up to you. If you have a way you do it, then you do that. But you can tell me in the comments, because I'm always open to suggestions. Alright, so I'm going to start by tuning it up. Alright, there's my first tuning. It's holding tune, and the bridge is pretty much locked down. So I want to take some tension off of those springs, and maybe just like a turn or two. And what I'm looking for is just a little bit of lift underneath this bridge. Like enough to get a pick under. A little bit tight. I'm going to go another half turn on each of these screws. Maybe too much on the bottom one. Let's see where this goes. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to tune it again. I probably should have tuned it before I did that second screw, but we'll see. Alright, that's my second tuning. And I'm liking where I'm sitting here. I can go down, and of course I can come up. I think I might want to take maybe another quarter turn off of those. Alright, now let's put the trem in. See if we can make it do the wibble wobble. I can go up, I can go down. And now after doing that, I can see it's sitting up a little bit high. So, and I'm sure it came out of tune. Yeah, that went down. So I'm actually going to go up another half on that. I think that's still a little bit high off of there. See, it's a balance, it's a dance. Back and forth with these screws and springs. Sometimes you go out, you go in. It's like the hokey pokey. And there it is, dialed right in there. So my balance is pretty good going forward and back. You can do the whammy and it comes back to tune because it's got that balance there now. So next up would be intonation and then pickup height. Nice. That there is the BannisterCaster, weighing in at 8.75 lbs. The tone is great and it's quiet as hell. Not any type of ground buzz or anything, and the feedback is like non-existent. Amazing Jay told me that this one sat around unplayed for years. Well, it's ready for its time in the spotlight. And he has a gig this Saturday, so I'm glad I got it done before that. And he's definitely going to put it through the paces. So I hope this video inspires you to get out there and fix something or build a Strat out of stair banisters. This one is built with genuine Fender parts, but you can grab a generic Strat kit for like 80 bucks. Chuck the body after you get your measurements from it. Make a body out of whatever you want, like wood, Lego, jeans, cement, anything. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me. Give me a thumbs up for filming it for you, and we'll talk again soon.
It's like freshly waxed keeps slipping off your leg.
Yeah, I know.